Well, hey everybody, it's Chuck. Welcome back. Well, we are still on version FSD Supervised 13.2, and this is an amazing version. It has really been smooth. I haven't done any unprotected left-hand turns consistently on it, but boy, do I have a treat for you today. A lot of people have asked me to do this, and what I'm going to do is Twilight. Sunrise is in exactly half an hour, so we have got Twilight unprotected left-hand turns that hopefully will give a little bit of visibility into both day-night conditions and possibly a little bit of earlier morning rush hour. Okay, we definitely got some traffic coming from the left, so I'm not going anywhere here for the foreseeable future. I can see very clearly. There's just, I guess I would describe it as just a sea of lights coming. Picking out the gaps in darkness, while I know that seeing that there's something there is easier, depth perception is a little bit more difficult, I think, for a human. So the question is it easier for a computer? I definitely see a large gap here. So this is going to be a gimme on the first gap, and it's waiting nice and patiently. And this last car right here, and it looks like we're going to need to wait from the right. No question mark maneuver, very slowly to cross. The left lane is open. I can see that. It's waiting though. It's waiting very okay, and it jumped out in front of a car that I'm not really happy about. He was not super speeding. He had one headlight on, which is another interesting thing. I'm looking back in the rear view. He has one headlight on. I don't know. Do you think it saw him with that headlight? It's a good question. Any case, all right, let's knock a few more out before the sun comes up. All right, here we go, round two. I can already see that the sun's coming up a little bit more. It's getting brighter, but obviously headlights are all still on and things like that. All right, a very small gap if it goes, and it might need to wait here. No, it didn't. The left lane was open. I saw the cars approaching, but they were in the middle of the farthest lane. It very slowly crossed the median. It did not feel like it was doing a part one, wait, part two. It felt like it knew that there were cars approaching from the right. It felt like it knew how much room it had from the left, and it was crawling like a human would to avoid the stop and perhaps even measure a little bit the distance to the oncoming cars and to maybe even perceive or infer if that left lane was indeed open. Yeah, all right, let's try another one. All right, here we go. I am in hurry mode, but I don't think that this has anything to do with the decision making. Obviously, it might take more testing to be certain of that. All right, we've got a small gap here after this truck. Is it going to go? It is. Don't dilly-dally, though. Don't dilly-dally, okay? You didn't. Okay, now we've got to wait from the right, and I'm looking back over my shoulder with my foot near the brake. It's got to wait a while. I feel like I'm in the median pretty good. Which is not concerning, and it's not popping the brake at all. Now the left lane is open now, and there's a truck coming. Is it going to go? Nice, right after that. Yeah, so it's choosing the left lane, but not necessarily when there's a vehicle right adjacent to you in the left lane. Does that make sense? So if I'm going to come out into the left lane, that's fine, but coming out in perfectly parallel to an adjacent car could be risky if they're changing lanes or something like that. So that feels really good. No problems there. It felt like the median placement was slow, methodical, and precise are kind of the words I feel like I need to use to describe it. It kind of creeped in there, maybe with an attempt to measure. That time, more than the previous two, I felt like I wanted it to kind of hurry up and get to the median, only for the distance of the oncoming cars. But, I'm not going to complain that it was too close because it did it just fine. Okay, stick with me. Let's try another one. All right, here we go again. See which kind of unprotected left turn I got from this box of chocolates. No more NHTSA stop. Well, I don't know. That was kind of a NHTSA stop. It stopped and then creeped. So maybe no NHTSA stop is not a perfectly accurate representation of what's going on here. All right, this is a small gap, and it chose to go in the small gap. Okay, hurry. You gotta hurry. Gotta hurry. Gotta hurry. Gosh. It fit before the car got there, but we're clear. My gut reaction was get over to the median quicker. In that situation, the lane closest to the median had the approaching traffic, and it kind of crawled into the median and scooted up. As that car was rapidly approaching, that's where I was getting this urge about you need to get in the median. It never stopped. It never questioned it. So I'm not going to say it was wrong, because it did it, and it did it smoothly and methodically. So another good one. It did it just fine, and it's waiting on the gaps from the right, almost in conjunction, meaning like it felt like, what's the right word? It feels like it's measuring the gap the whole time it's crossing the lane and going into the median. So perhaps this is some of this version 13.2 compute magic. Maybe this is using some of that additional compute speed, some of the photon latency reduction. They said they had 2 times the photon latency reduction. Maybe all this is playing in. I mean, there's no doubt that the first AI4 model and trained data set ought to be able to perform significantly different on this turn, because the biggest issue I have on this turn is high-speed cross-traffic. So high-speed cross-traffic means that the time between inference and arrival is shortest. Okay, let's try another one. And here we go again. All right, sun's starting to come up at 6:50 a.m. Sunrise is at 7:06, so we're still up 15 minutes away from actual sunrise. I may have just said sunset. Okay, a small gap here. Is it going to commit immediately? It did, and it's going to make it for a roller. So that was really a good example of it went to the creep and didn't wait to assess. It went, creeped, and then it took the gap that was immediately available. Have you ever felt like you had to make a decision and it was a snap decision of if you don't make it right now, you're going to end up having to wait or something else? That felt like a snap decision after the creep. I was still assessing, was there cars further back? Were they there? And it saw the gap and went for it. Fortunately, on the other side, it was also a roller, so it didn't have to perhaps determine both directions. But that was another good one. Can't complain. All right, let's see what we have on this one. So there is a stop right there that is before the creep line. So if we're going to call that a NHTSA stop, it is definitely still doing it today. It didn't do it as much the other day. I've got a red light to the right, and it's causing the traffic to slow down with their brake lights. So these cars that are approaching slower, except for that guy. Now we have a semi here, and then our gap is open from the left. And if it can, yep, okay. If I was going to say if it continues on, that semi was going to be blocking its view, but could you feel how slowly and methodically it was crossing into the median and then continuing on because of the roller? That is a definite difference on this build. It's methodically and slowly, maybe even a little bit too slow for my comfort at this point, crossing the first lane to get into the median. So in other words, I haven't ever yet felt a sense of urgency of getting across the road yet. Even when the gaps were smaller, it felt like it was going smoothly and methodically across. It hasn't chosen a wrong gap yet, so that's not a concern. I'm just kind of describing how I feel about the intent of crossing the median. Let's try another one. All right, here we go again. You know what I haven't had one of yet is a pay attention to the road, Chuck. There's definitely our NHTSA stop. So it's still doing that, guys. I'm not going to completely say it's gone. Okay, we definitely got a small gap here. No, it's not going to go for that one. Oh, it is. Gosh, okay, feel this. It's going slowly across here. A little too slow for my comfort in that one. As you see that car approaching, the distance was fine on that car, meaning like it wasn't unsafe. But sometimes when you cross those medians, to get to the median, you kind of want to give the intent to the approaching driver, hey, I see you, I'm going to get out of your way. It feels like the car is crossing the road with, yeah, I'll get there, don't worry about it. And if I don't get there in time, you can slow down or maybe even go around me a little bit. That's kind of the attitude it's crossing the first set of traffic in. The distances are fine. It's not calculating it wrong. I'm just saying the language it's using, perhaps with its speed and intent, feels slower on that crossing side. But anyway, it's working, so you can't complain about it. And I wonder if this is a day-night issue. Obviously, we're getting into daytime now. Sunrise is in about another 8 minutes. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think it's any different? Obviously, I'm not doing a side-by-side, but as the sun comes up, it might get a little bit heavier traffic here, too. Stick with me. Let's try another one. All right. Let's try this one. And there's our NHTSA stop. It's still there. Wasn't talking about it a few minutes ago. Here's our creep. The creep on the Model Y is definitely different than the Cybertruck. Very good gap here. This is going to be a roller. Here in about another 30 seconds, I would have had to wait on all of this traffic you see approaching, but it made it just fine. Nice job there. The Cybertruck in version 12.5.5.3 has a stop and then almost an aggressive creep with an over-braking kind of a feel. The Model Y isn't doing that creep at all. It's very smoothly after the stop creeping up. You don't get the sense it's going to go too far. The Cybertruck still feels like it's going to go too far every time on this version. Anxiously awaiting version 13 on the Cybertruck, and gosh, we can do this testing in the big beast. It's not a beast, it's an all-wheel drive, but in the big truck. Stick with me, we'll try another one. All right, here we go again. I'm losing track. How many do you think we've done? There's our NHTSA stop and creep. Traffic is just being too easy on me. Big gap from the left, and it's going to be a roller from the right. But see, in two cars, you feel how slow it's going right here, and then it's going to go. So it did not get into the median that time because it was planning its roller. Did that make sense? It was just slowly getting over there. There definitely seems to be some sort of logic about how big of a hurry do I need to be to get into the median so that I can best do the merge on the next one. Am I going to have to wait, or am I going to have to just slow down a little bit and I'll keep my speed up? That one definitely felt like it was a slow down and keep my speed up scenario. Good job, Tesla. Nice one. All right, let's try another one. All right, here we go again. There's our NHTSA stop and our slow creep. And okay, we're gonna have to wait on this one. So I hit some traffic decent on this one. And this morning's traffic, I'm gonna call moderate, definitely not heavy. Oh, there's a little gap here. It's gonna go, isn't it? Look at that. I didn't think that gap was there just based off of the long, okay, I gotta wait though. So this one, he's in the closest lane. I'm waiting, and roll. Gosh, that was really, really good. I mean, it was one of those scenarios where you look in the distance, it looks like it's solid, but as the cars approach, you see a small gap. The Model Y Ego jumped into that gap, didn't jump, it slowly crossed, it went into the median, but there was a car in the most close lane, so it had to wait, and it pre-rolled even just a little bit after that vehicle passed to accelerate in the lane. Nice job, Tesla. That was a really good one. All right, we finally got one with the lead car. The lead car is turning to the right, though. He might actually eat up a little bit of our traffic. There's our NHTSA stop, a little bit behind, but we're just essentially waiting on this car to jump into the lane. One thing I noticed on my last loop is there are definitely some cars with their headlights on and some with their headlights off now. And this, provides an interesting scenario. Can you see this? Here's one with its headlights on and another one right next to it with its headlights off. They're both being visualized. That would be an interesting thing to think about how far the Tesla can see cars with headlights off when there are also cars with their headlights on. Okay, I'm in a situation where I've got to wait for a while here. It looks like on the screen my rear end is out of the lane of traffic. After this 18-wheeler, there's a small gap I'm afraid it might jump into. Don't go there. Oh, no, gosh, you're going to do it. I'm going to let you do it. But what you just did was you jumped in front of that car back there. It's fine. If you're going to jump in front of a car, you need to do it with intent, especially after you realize how quickly you jumped in there. It did it fine, and in the past I've disengaged on those, but I just wanted to let that one go as I saw the speed as it was approaching. So it was a successful unprotected left-hand turn. It's just, that's a comfort level at least for the supervisor. When we're unsupervised, that probably wouldn't have had anybody blink. Anyway, just a food for thought. You've all probably experienced it in your life when you've jumped out in front of a vehicle that perhaps was going faster than you realized, and they came up on you pretty quick. That car did not come up on me really, really quick. It applied its brakes and slowed down and kept a safe distance. It just goes to show those distance measuring functions, calculating which is the best one. Anyway, it was another good one. Stick with me. Let's try another one. All right, let's see if we get any more with mixed headlight scenarios. There's our NHTSA stop motorcycle. That would be a good one to have too in this twilight hour. It is sunrise right now, so this is the daylight you kind of get when the sun's right on the horizon. Okay, I've got to wait from the left for sure. This is another one of those scenarios where I just see a sea of lights. There may be a gap or two in here, but you have to kind of wait for them to approach to determine whether or not there's a gap. These are small, small gaps it should not go for. Is it going to pop its brake at all? No, it's not flinching. I got a Model S to the right of me right here, and he's pulling out. I'm kind of blocking his view. And because of him, I can't see to the left. Okay, so here's our first gap. It's going to be after this next car to the left, and it should go right now. Perfect. Okay, and as it crosses, it's methodically calculating. It feels like slowly, and the left lane is open. Is it going to completely stop? It is. Stopping, stopping, stopping. I'm in the lane, and then after this car, that was another really, really good one. The smoothness of the approach into the median exudes confidence that it is going to stop in the right spot, if that makes sense. Like when you're rapidly approaching and jumping in, like a Frogger, you're not sure if it's going to have the right stopping distance. As it smoothly goes, you feel it's calculating the whole way where to stop. Hopefully that makes sense. Tesla, that was another really, really good one. Nice job on this. You guys are undefeated so far. Okay, I think that's all we're going to do today. We did a good half hour of filming, got some really good scenarios. The Tesla was undefeated. It got them all today. Version 13 feels smooth. It feels like it's calculating. One little complaint was a personal preference, most likely, that it felt like it was going a little slow crossing the traffic, even with oncoming traffic approaching. But I think that's just part of the way they're smoothly calculating getting into the median. All of the timings were fine. It did not put me in danger at all. I would say that this is the best so far. Nice job, Tesla. Congratulations. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Leave some comments below, and we'll see you next time.